How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Continues to Tick. As long as time passes, I hope to continually be here, week after week. This Dividend portfolio series continues. You'll soon see that in fact we have now crossed the $15,000 mark. And it does appear to be true. The larger the portfolio becomes, the bigger the drip, the bigger the gains, the quicker it goes to increasing the portfolio size altogether. Anyhow, I hope you're all doing well, managing to stay safe and stay sane. This last week was a new learning period for me. As a rather new RN overall, nearly approaching my 2-year mark as a nurse, and facing a viral pandemic with the notorious COVID-19 virus. And on top of this, working in the correctional setting, which like cruise ships and nursing homes, are like a petri dish of a setting for a virus like this. It's been very challenging, and I found myself this last week getting really impatient, irritable, and the beginnings of becoming more snappy. Just feeling somewhat burnt out overall. Now, I'm not one that prides on calling in sick, nor do I do it often, nor do I even know how to properly do it. Do you call in the day before, the morning of? Should I be honest, say I'm not feeling well, or just say I need a mental health day? It's a struggle, right? So with my feeling of being burned out, I had to take a sick day, my first official sick day, where I wasn't necessarily feeling physically ill, but more so mentally fatigued. I felt the burnout. As a nurse, I've been working harder, longer, and more than I ever have before. Today is my quote-unquote sick day, and I'm writing this script as I sit in my car, windows down, staring at the ocean here in San Francisco. I can smell the ocean air, feel the cool ocean breeze, and of course I can also see and hear the giant ravens here in San Francisco, which tend to be the size of medium-sized dogs, I kid you not, and always hungry. I guess what I'm trying to say with this is that life is a long game, and COVID has surely taken a huge toll on me, as I'm sure it has on many others, in a variety of ways. Maybe not even just work-related, but family-related, or just as simple as being inconvenienced by it. What I'm trying to learn today is that it's very important to catch yourself before you mentally or even physically break. I can see how, as hard as it was to call in today, I really needed this. Maybe now I can push a little further, and if you were to do the same, if you get to this point of feeling burnt out, maybe you can too. But now, transitioning into today's video topics, I'll end the video as always, as like we always do, with the portfolio review, where I show you the crossing into the now $15,000 range. But first, I'd like to share a bit of my experience with growing up with parents who had rental properties, and how that shaped my financial mindset, and how it continues to shape my mindset in terms of active versus passive income. So let's begin. To begin, I'd just like to share that I'm a first generation born here in America. My parents came to America and worked in the agricultural sector. They saved their money, made some smart decisions, and with some luck or opportunity meeting preparation, however you view it, my parents bought their first home, and after a while saved more money, and as the family got larger, they needed to buy a slightly larger home. So they did, and rented out their previous house. And it was at that moment they became landlords. They repeated this step a few more times, and now they both are in their 60s, with a good portfolio that doesn't include stocks, but does include equity in real estate and active and passive income through multiple rental properties. My parents' golden egg was a small 9-unit apartment complex. They were able to snag into their real estate portfolio early on in the game of life. The income from these units allow my parents to live in an area now where most neighbors hold educational degrees with high-paying careers. And here are my parents, able to match that level of living with smaller income-generating jobs and smart financial planning with real estate investing. Growing up, my father was the landlord of these rental properties. My mother did all the behind-the-scenes paperwork, keeping track of all the finances. I learned a ton from my father, that in a way I've become a handyman myself. I saw firsthand the challenges and amount of discipline it takes to be a self-managing landlord to multiple units. And let me tell you, it's easy until it's difficult, then it's quite difficult, then back to easy. My dad managed this all while working a full-time job with a family, and it wasn't until now that I'm older and working a full-time job myself that I can honestly comprehend the amount he worked and respect that man even more. Don't get me wrong, I hope to one day also include real estate to my financial portfolio, but there are many headaches with real estate if you plan to manage it on your own. And that's why I previously mentioned real estate as providing both passive and active income. Again, it's easy until it's difficult, then easy again. I got into dividend investing because with a career, absolutely nothing can be more passive than dividend payouts from a dividend portfolio. Unlike needing to put work into rental properties in order to collect a check each month. I still continue to assist my dad with these rental properties to this day, especially as some become unoccupied. But growing up, seeing my parents be self-managing landlords, I learned a lot of discipline and financial responsibility that goes into this. And with the full-time job as an RN, I can't even see how my mother and father did this. Seeing my parents own rental properties taught me how challenging at times it can be to be a landlord, but also taught me the rewards of using this financial strategy. The payoffs are great, and having had rental properties really fueled my parents' income and will provide a nice pillow into retirement. But even though getting rent each month from a hassle-free tenant is great, dividend payouts from a dividend portfolio requires nearly no additional work, and in my opinion is the most passive form of income I'm aware of. Sure, you can always get a property manager, but it does cut into profits, and they potentially may not care for your property as you would. As my parents never used one to this day, I personally can't speak on that option. But truthfully, if I was to get into real estate, it would be something I'd consider, at least for a moment or two. But with this said, let's go ahead and go down the path to closing out this week's video by going into our portfolio review for this week. So here we are in Jesse's cash flow portfolio. Seeing it on a weekly basis, we've been seeing the progress unfold. If you've been following along, we've come quite a way. Last week, we hadn't crossed the $15,000 mark, and here we are at $15,380. Still with approximately a 16% return. This is including earned dividends and the gain from the portfolio. So the 16%, it equates to $1,190. This is all time. All time from the very beginning of July 20th of last year. So we've come quite a ways, and it's pretty nice to see. Last week, it was a pretty flat week, and I'll take it. Just like I was saying in last week's video, I will take a flat week any day. Any day. Last month, it's been pretty good. And overall, my portfolio has been doing well. I wouldn't have figured when I started this portfolio last year, considering it was COVID 2020 madness, with the drop in the market and then recovery, that I would be sitting here with a 16% gain and at $15,000 portfolio size, and earning dividends, getting bigger and bigger snowballs. And it's really neat to see. If you're curious to see exactly what it is that I'm holding, I have my portfolio divided up by sectors, as you see a lot of people do. It's the easiest way to, keep track of everything, make it nice and orderly. I don't really show in these videos, but if you're curious, check out the description box below. There's a link to sharing my pie. You can see what it is that I'm holding in each sector. Check it out if you're curious. Like I say, I'm not a financial advisor. I just don't feel comfortable sharing that information. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there that have really great channels, and that's what they do. So last week we ended on January 15th. We ended on a fairly high note. We had a really big snowball that was going to happen this week, and here we are, where I'll point it out here in a second. But here we are, January 20th, Cisco dividend payout, 87 cents. Also on January 20th, our deposit of $500, which is a weekly deposit. I've been trying to maintain this, and I'm going to try to maintain this as long as I can. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position to be able to go at this pace, and I'm very thankful for it. But also on January 20th, as you can see here, there's 47 buys of the holdings into my portfolio with a really big snowball of $13.62. I put in $500 deposit. The snowball from all of last week was quite noticeable, and here we are with $513, a $13 snowball this week, purchasing into the dividend portfolio. Really neat to see. Here we are, January 21st, getting paid by Oracle, 40 cents. So, last week, very dividend heavy payout week. This week, relatively flat, but the snowball happened in the subsequent week. Even though it was a pretty boring week in terms of dividend payouts, we had the big snowball this week. I'm still dripping the dividends right now. It's going to be quite interesting to see how taxes play out this year, because I did start this dividend portfolio last year. I do have this portfolio in a taxable account. These are all things that I'm going to experience for the first time. I know my portfolio is small, so the taxes are going to be relatively small, but I'm interested to see what I'm going to learn. One of the reasons why, and I haven't really gone over it too much, As to why I have it in a taxable account is, one, I'm trying to retire as early as possible. Given the fact that if I can work 20 years for the state, it'll be around 44, 45 years old. 20 years is when I'm completely vested with health insurance and everything. So I'm trying to make it 20 years. So potentially at the earliest of 45 years old. Another reason why I have it in a taxable account is because the amount I'm able to contribute. I'm not capped. I can keep funneling in as much as I want into this portfolio. And at the rate that I'm going at, of $500 every week, that's $26,000 a year. And that'd be a lot more than I could put into any retirement account that I'm aware of. So with this being said, I hope you guys have a good upcoming week. Take that rest day if you really need it. It's really important for us to take care of our mental health, our physical health, and try our best to just stay safe out there. Have close loved ones also take care of themselves out there. This journey, this dividend portfolio series, is not going to stop anytime soon. The journey has been fun. If you've liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to continue this series moving forward, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, this won't be stopping anytime soon. So join along. And with that being said, I will see you on next week's video. Take care. Peace.